is the story, the fantastically true story, of Herbert A. Philbrick, who for 9 frightening years did lead 3 lives. Average citizen, high-level member of the Communist Party, and counter-spy for the Federal Bureau of Investigation. For obvious reasons, the names, dates, and places have been changed, but the story is based on fact. There's got to be an important reason why the communists would work for the election to Congress of a man who's rabidly anti-communist. This week's story concerns the reasons behind the communist plan to elect this candidate. Funny thing about big cities. Most people complain they're too big, that you can lose your identity in them. Doesn't always work that way. Sometimes you can hide your identity for a while, but then sooner or later the big city closes in on you. Sometimes it only takes one man. Maybe it's a well-meaning friend like Dr. Lee Kettner here. Then it's easy. A few inquiries here and there leads him to the right place and the right identity. Herbert A. Philbrick, advertising manager, Associated Advertising, 4th floor. Well, Dr. Kettner. By golly, it's good to see you.
Herbert, I've been searching for you.
Come on in, sit down.
Thank you.
Well, what brings you down here?
The George Reynolds campaign.
Oh?
Possibly you know that I'm his campaign manager. I've done the best I could, but, well, it just hasn't been good enough. That's why I'm here. We need your help, Herb. With your experience, with you handling his publicity campaign, Reynolds can still win the election.
I'm sorry, Doctor.
Sorry about what, Herb?
I can't do it.
But why, Herb?
Well, I'm too busy. Look at that desk.
You can't help at all?
I just haven't got the time.
How many years has it been, Herb? 3, 4?
Yeah, something like that.
Have your political ideas changed that much?
What makes you say that?
There was a time, as I recall, when you would have fought for a chance to work with a man like George Reynolds. His political philosophies today are the same as yours were.
Listen to me.
3 or 4 years ago.
Listen to me.
Reynolds would make a great congressman, Herb. He's young, he's honest, smart. I believe in him, and I'd hope you would.
I said I can't do it, Doctor.
All right, Herb. In case you change your mind, you know where the Reynolds headquarters are.
I can't change my mind.
I'm sorry I've taken up your time, Herb. Goodbye.
Great. Just great. In case I change my mind. Oh, sure. Just walk up to cell headquarters and say I'm going to work for an anti-communist political candidate. If I could only tell him I have a third activity, counter-spy, reporting on the communists to the FBI. Yes?
Herb, this is Marie Dayton. I want to see you. Come right over.
Taxi, mister? Take me to...
Hey, Herb!
Never mind. Hello, Borden.
Going someplace? No sense throwing your money away on cabs.
Well, thanks, but I hate to take you out of your way.
No, you're not. I'm going the same place.
So Mrs. Dayton gave him orders to bring you in, Philbrick. Why? What have you done? Or more important, what can they think you've done?
It's all clear signal.
Don't ask why she sent for you, Philbrick. A good party member doesn't question the authority of his cell leader.
Well, Comrade Philbrick, would you like to tell me what it was all about?
Sure. If you tell me what you mean. What was all about?
You know what. I'm speaking of your conference with the politically minded Dr. Lee Kettner. Well, Comrade?
There's nothing to tell. I didn't invite Dr. Kettner to my office.
Of course not. Old friends don't need invitations, do they?
Well, Kettner and I haven't seen each other for 3 or 4 years.
Must have been nice seeing him again.
Look, it's no secret that Kettner and I were friends years ago. That was before I joined the party.
And now?
Now, nothing. Nothing at all.
Nothing, Comrade? No for the meeting in your office today?
Meeting? Kettner wasn't in my office more than 5 minutes.
Correction, comrade. It was 7.5 minutes.
All right, 7.5 minutes. If it was 7.5 hours, I can't see why a meeting between me and Kettner is so important.
You don't see why, Comrade. I'll explain. Is that all right with you? The good Dr. Kettner happens to represent everything alien to the communist cause. Do you and the doctor have mutual political interests? Is that the basis of your friendship?
There is no basis for our friendship.
Really?
Kettner's working for the George Reynolds for Congress committee. They need a publicity director. He came to me to ask me to donate my services.
And you turned him down?
After all you've been to each other?
Of course I turned him down. What do you expect me to do?
Frankly, I'd expect you to accept his offer.
Why?
You tell him why, Comrade Borden.
Five years ago, another Kettner protege ran for office and was elected to the state legislature. His assistant campaign manager, Herbert A. Philbrick. 4 years ago, petitions were circulated advocating strong anti-communist legislation. One name present on at least 3 of these petitions, Herbert A. Philbrick.
That's enough. We all committed sins against the masses before we were members of the Communist Party. Every one of us. We were all fools until the party became our teacher, our guide, our life. And I was just as big a fool as any of us. But I absolutely refuse to be persecuted for sins that I committed before I became a communist.
Just a minute, Comrade. You haven't been dismissed. Come back here. I want to see Comrade Herb alone. You're too hasty, Comrade. You jump to conclusions too quickly. It's my privilege to question your loyalty anytime I please. It's your duty to give satisfactory answers. Well, it's time to feed my children. Do you know anything about fish, Comrade? Interesting hobby. Especially some of the species. When they get hungry, they eat each other. Come along, we'll talk inside. You've netted yourself a new assignment, Comrade. The invitation of Dr. Kettner to work for George Reynolds. You'll accept it.
Accept it? You expect me to work for an avowed enemy of the proletariat like Reynolds? You expect me to help put a man like that into Congress?
Exactly. Your job is to see that George Reynolds is elected.
But how can that help our cause?
Both political parties in this election can harm us. Both of them want anti-communist investigations. Both of them are in favor of 1,000 things aimed at our destruction.
Sure they are.
There are 2 men in this election. Duncan and Reynolds. We are going to eliminate both of them. First, Mr. Duncan, the incumbent. The people know where he stands. We can't afford to have him in office again.
Yeah, but Reynolds stands for exactly the same things as far as we're concerned.
Ah, but there's a difference. Young Mr. Reynolds is a fresh new face. Untried, untested. He'll be so much easier to smear than Duncan.
Smear? You want to get him elected so you can smear him?
Exactly. We can't dirty up Duncan's record, but Reynolds is still an enigma. Is the picture any clearer now?
Yeah. Step one, we get Reynolds elected. Step two, after election, we bury him under a pile of mud. Step three, the people begin to lose faith in their elected representatives. Don't know who they can trust. Yeah. Nice, wholesome entertainment. If we can get Reynolds elected.
If? No ifs, comrade. You've got to be certain he's elected.
How can I guarantee that?
That's up to you. But for your own sake, you've got to be certain. Naturally, we'll help you as much as we can.
How will you help?
You'll know in due time. Goodbye, Comrade Herb.
Bye, comrade. Just walk. Walking's good for you, especially when it takes you away from the commies. The farther away, the better. You've got to contact Henderson at the FBI.
Yes, Dave, here. What happened?
New assignment. I'm to work for the election of George Reynolds, so they can sell him out.
What do you mean, selling out?
It's too long to explain all of it. I'll get off a complete report to you tonight. The gist of it is they want to elect George Reynolds so they can smear him. Spoil the people's faith in their elected representatives.
How can they smear him? His record's clean.
I don't know.
You going to take the assignment?
If I do, it means hurting a fine man, an old friend of mine. Also means sabotaging everything I ever believed in. Is it important to you that I take this assignment?
You're a volunteer, Herb. The FBI can't ask you to do it.
How important?
It's important, Herb.
Don't put a tail on me, of course. Make sure I'm keeping clean.
It'd be too dangerous for us to try to contact you. You'll be working entirely on your own, Herb.
It's nice to know. At least haven't you got some advice for me? Some helpful suggestion?
This is of vital importance to them, Herb. They'll be watching your every move. All I can say is be careful. Be very careful, Herb.
Philbrick, go on. Get it over with. You've committed yourself. The commies expect it. So does the FBI. Do it. Give Kettner the big hello, the hearty handshake. Not too hearty, though. It might shake the knife out of your sleeve. Hello, Doctor.
Herbert. Well, Herbert.
How are you, Doctor?
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. And still more wonderful seeing you here. Is this just a friendly visit, or...
No, sir. No, I'm reporting for duty.
I knew it. I knew you'd change your mind. I'll get George. He's dying to meet you. We need your help very badly, Herb.
Oh, he'll be Duncan. We'll see to it that he does.
Good. This will be your desk.
Oh.
Now, don't you go away. I'll have George come right down. Boy, what a surprise this will be.
Unfortunately, Doctor, this is only the start. I'm afraid there are going to be a lot of surprises in store for you and Reynolds before this campaign is over. Oh, let me see that. Yeah, I've been waiting for it. Now, that's what I want, except just take out that word. That's fine. Go ahead. Keep it up, Philbrick. Work hard. Keep the bosses happy. Not Kettner and Reynolds. They don't count. It's the shadowy figures in the background, the comrades. They're the ones you've got to please. George won't forget what you're doing for him. Those are about the most prophetic words you've ever spoken, Doctor, but not in the way you mean. This is Herb. No, not in report yet. They haven't contacted me. Yeah, whatever it is, they're apparently holding it till the last minute. Well, with only 2 weeks left, they've got to spill it, whatever it is, before long. Yeah. Any orders? Okay.
Now, I hope you agree with some of the things that I have said about these subjects.
You've done all you could do, Philbrick. You've helped build Reynolds up. He's a big man now. Big enough to be a perfect target. Big enough so the commies won't miss him when they shoot.
And that, fellow citizens, is the platform upon which I base my campaign for election.
Well, Herbert, I guess our part of the job is finished now. Tomorrow, George will make a final radio address, and then it'll be up to the voters to decide.
Radio address? I thought we were out of funds.
We were, but we've suddenly got a new contributor. A woman. Oh, there she is now. I want you to meet her.
Thank you.
Good evening, Dr. Kettner.
Good evening, Mrs. Dayton.
And this must be your Mr. Philbrick.
How do you do?
Mr. Reynolds spoke most glowingly about you.
Oh, thank you.
I'm very glad you enjoyed this with me. Will you excuse me? Well, Mrs. Dayton, I see you've met Mr. Philbrick. Mrs. Dayton happens to be our most generous contributor, Herb. Look at this check.
It's a great deal of money, Mrs. Dayton.
Not at all, Mr. Philbrick. You see, I believe in his cause.
You must have great confidence in our candidate.
I'd do anything to see him elected.
You have done most everything. Now I can make that radio speech tomorrow.
And coming the day before election, it's just the thing we needed to put the campaign over with a bang.
This is what the FBI has been wanting to know, Philbrick. You've got to get in touch with Henderson. That check from Mrs. Dayton is going to be the key to the smear campaign. If Reynolds makes that radio address tonight using the commies' money, they'll have him right in the palm of their hand. That money will get him elected, and then they'll give him the mud bath. What a field day they'll have. You've got to get away from them, Philbrick, even for just a few minutes. Just long enough to call Henderson.
Are you ready, Herb? We have a lot of work to do.
Work? Well, all night, Herb, if you don't mind. On my radio speech. I'm going to need your help.
We'll go to my place. We won't be bothered there. I'm sure the surroundings will be conducive to Mr. Philbrick's best work.
To say something about taxes.
Oh, that's going to be in there. Also, I think he's going to say something about getting the people out to vote.
Yes, yes. We should do that.
I can have some.
Keep your mind on the business at hand, Philbrick. There's no way you can contact Henderson tonight. No way at all. Now get out of here. Beg off joining them for breakfast. Get out of here and call Henderson. Hurry up before Mrs. Dayton comes in. She might have other plans to detain you. Take a chance, Philbrick. Get to Henderson. No. No, not that much of a chance. There may be extensions. The commies could have a wiretap. So keep walking. Find a phone, a safe phone. Maybe Henderson will have some ideas on how to double-cross the comrades.
Oh, did you see Philbrick?
No, I haven't. I just came in.
Well, go see if you can find him.
Eva. Hi, it's me. Look, I've been working on George's speech all night. Yeah, I just left Mrs. Dayton's house.
I know. I'm 3 doors away from you.
You are?
I had your call transferred. Meet me right away on the northwest corner.
Right. The secret of the smear campaign, Henderson. It's going to be done with checks, communist checks, contributions to the Reynolds campaign fund.
It's a nice, tidy little technique, all right. He's elected. Naturally, the first thing he'll want to do is publicly thank the friends that made it possible.
And friend Dayton will be the first one to step forward and reveal to the world that Reynolds had the support of the Communist Party.
More than that, Herb, they'll have proof that they actually received money from active Reds.
What can you do, Henderson?
You know where he is?
He'll have left Mrs. Dayton's by now. He'll be all over town today, seeing people. Henderson, you've got to find him before he goes on the air tonight.
Hey, Herb!
Comrade Borden, self-appointed hatchet man of the cell.
Why did you run off like that, Comrade Herb?
I didn't run off. I thought my job was finished. I'm tired, worn out.
We're all tired. You can rest here. We'll all hear Mr. Reynolds' final speech together.
Ladies and gentlemen, my good friends and supporters, fellow Americans everywhere, tomorrow you're going to the polls. For weeks past, I've been pleading, crying out for your votes. Tonight, I had planned a final recap of all I have said in the past weeks. I had a speech prepared. A good, honest speech. I can't use that speech now. In spite of the support of so many sincere American voters, in spite of the tireless efforts of my friends and co-workers.
Philbrick, what's he going to say?
Just a few minutes ago, I learned that the major portion of my campaign funds were donated by communists.
Philbrick, what's he saying?
Quiet, listen.
Every penny of this money is being returned to them. I've mortgaged everything I own to pay for this radio broadcast tonight because I wanted you to have the facts. And why had these rotten-hearted red traitors given me their support? I'll tell you why.
Turn it off.
In spite of the tireless efforts of my friends and co-workers.
What'll they do to me, Comrade?
What are you worried about, Comrade? The party wanted him elected, didn't they? If this doesn't do it, nothing will. We did our job well.
Yes, you did your job, but we were supposed to expose him. It was vitally important that we were to expose him. We've lost Philbrick. We've lost everything.
You've lost everything, Mrs. Dayton? That's all in your point of view. Strictly a matter of values. Values you wouldn't understand.
And at this hour, the race between Reynolds and Duncan for Congressman in the 13th District is a very close one. Last night's radio speech by George Reynolds came as a climax to a hard-fought campaign. An interesting sidelight on this communist expose, which rocked the city last night, is that the FBI has learned the identity of some of the highest-ranking Communist Party members in the state. Among them are such prominent people as Mrs. Marie Dayton.
What do you think the party will do to you, Comrade Dayton? They'll hang you on the good old party line. The commie treatment for failure. Once George Reynolds discovered the true identity of some of his supporters, he acted promptly and courageously, and the election became the instrument for which it was intended, the expression of the free and honest choice of the people. Next week, we'll bring you another story from the files of Herbert A. Philbrick, citizen, communist, counter spy.